I'm here with Rob, and he's the owner of Niche, a new shop in Fort Wayne. Did you want to tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah. First, Zach, thanks for having me over, or coming here.
Thanks for having me over. It's cool to finally check it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know we've been trying for quite a while now to try to get together, so I appreciate you making the trip out to see us. I'm Rob Coulter. I am the owner of Niche here in Fort Wayne. Just opened up this new shop. It's kind of interesting. It's more of a leather craft shop, and I say that because I do all different craft work, from vests to pants, corsets, dresses, harnesses, impact play, different things like that. Anything specialty in the leather world, you name it, I can do it. So it's kind of cool. I've got access to a couple different neat tools and technology things here in Fort Wayne that not many places in the U.S. have, let alone Indiana. So I'm sitting kind of right behind one of the largest CO2 lasers, which is pretty cool because I can put almost half of a hide of a cow on the laser and be able to either etch out or cut out exact, very precision things to minute details. So, if you wanted specialty vests or you name it, really anything that you wanted to have done, I can do. Patchwork. All that good stuff. So that's what we have kind of going on back here is in my workstation is, the sewing machine and the laser and all that good stuff. It's pretty cool. But out front, we've got a really nice showroom that's about 3,000 square feet altogether that houses a lot of very unique brands that you can only find in some very specialty parts of the United States, if not the world. I've got different brands out there. One guy is Butcher Apparel from India, actually, and was one of the designers for the Walking Dead series.
Oh, wow.
So he's got his fashion line that's showcased right here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And then we've also got other brands like Andrew Christian. Musculo is a Russian company. We've got Pump, which is a Canadian company. I've got Prowler and Corset Story, which is from the United Kingdom. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of different representations from different parts of the world that you couldn't normally find. You'd have to really go searching online to find it. And the thing about online purchasing is, I don't know if you know, but it's every time I order a shirt or pants or whatever, I have to be at the mercy of their sizing and hope that it comes in and it's right. Sometimes I spend a lot of money on something and it's like, oh, no, it's too small. I would never wear this in public. Where here you can actually come, see it, touch it, feel it, and then also try it on, make sure it fits.
That's really valuable. You never know if you can trust the numbers that it gives.
Yeah, one of the brands, I'm a double XL, and in another brand, I'm a medium. So, the swings are all over the board, and it's kind of cool. We have a couple companies that go up to like 6X sizing. So, from small to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6X in sizes. So we kind of try to bring in a lot of diversity, a lot of things that you again normally can't find here in the Fort Wayne area. Not only Fort Wayne, but in Indiana. I was born and raised here in the Fort Wayne area, and I know the kind of lack of diversity for some of the things that we carry, especially in some of like the specialty leatherwork realm, I should say. We also have been in contact with some really cool fursuit makers, latex, neoprene, so we'll be expanding out and doing all sorts of different wear, not just leather specialty, but a whole bunch of different things. So
that's awesome, yeah, and that's a lot of the stuff that you really can only find online or not have a community for, and you're kind of giving representation to people in Fort Wayne and beyond. Do you have a lot of people who buy online?
We do, actually, yeah. I mean, we just started. We opened up about 5 months ago, and since then we've gone a lot of different places throughout the country. One of them, the farthest, I think we went for a show in Omaha, Nebraska a few months ago, and we do a lot of things down in Indianapolis to support our local Hoosiers here, but we've got shows in Ohio and Michigan and Illinois, actually. So a lot of different places that we try to go to get our word out of what we're doing here in Indiana, because there's nothing that I know of that is anywhere close to doing what we're doing here at Niche. So it's been pretty cool the last year and a half, 2 years or so, trying to put together and design something that's kind of unique for this area. Like I said, I was born and raised here, so it's kind of nice to support our own local community and help grow some of the areas that we think are lacking and needing representation. So it's been really fun.
Absolutely.
Really fun.
And that's good to hear. I know it was cool to see you have a booth at this year's Pride, because Fort Wayne has a big Pride festival, and
and
a lot of
bigger
people
every year.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I assume that you've always kind of been involved in that scene within Fort Wayne.
No, it's been kind of interesting. Like I was with my ex-wife for 17 years altogether. We had 3 children together, so I was deeply involved more into that side of the community, and it wasn't until we got a divorce about 6 years ago or so that I got more involved into the local LGBTQ community, and found that it's just full of some amazing people, amazing different colors, just like the flag. There's so many different colors that represent our community, and it's been really cool opening a shop like this to see a lot of the locals and further distant locals, I should say, come to see us and give us the support, because it's been really, really cool. And Fort Wayne Pride and everything at After Dark, and I'm part of the the Northeast Indiana Leather chapter, which was started a few years ago, and we represent the leather community here in the Northeast Indiana section. So we've been growing steadily the last few years, just like everybody who has been trying to pick themselves up after the COVID shuffle, I guess, the COVID shuffle.
Yeah.
But it's been good. It's been slow but steady, and we're doing some big things here in Fort Wayne. So look forward to it.
Awesome. Are you able to tell me about any testimonial you've got, or like how you've impacted people through what you're doing here?
Yeah, well, it's kind of cool. With technology nowadays, we opened up our website, nicheware.com, and we've got a ton of different reviews on our Google reviews already. Like I said, we've been open up for 4 months now, and we've had the privilege of having some really cool people stop in and leave some honest interpretations of what they found here, and I encourage all those to Google niche in Fort Wayne, and you'll see nicheware.com pop up, and it's pretty cool. There's some good things to check out there, and we got stuff coming in every week, every 2 weeks, trying to get new brands in and new things in. So keep your ear to the ground. We're always doing something here. For
Awesome.
sure.
Have you had any negative responses to it? I know in the news a couple of months back or something, there was a story about a shop in Noblesville, I think, that the city council made shut down. I'm not sure what the status on that is, but have you had any similar negative reactions, or have things been
that's a really good question, and so far it's been pretty tame for us here in Fort Wayne. When we had our grand opening, we did have a couple of different hate mail that came through, but nothing that was too crazy. I was actually surprised. I've been surprised on how welcoming the city of Fort Wayne has been to a lot of things that we're trying to do. But But no, overall, it's been a good, smooth transition. I know what you're talking about. There was a company down in south, close to Indianapolis, that was shut down, and they did officially get shut down by it was done by the city council there. And fortunately, I've been able to work with our legal team and figure out a way to be here and do things under Fort Wayne's rules and regulations. So we're just a regular leather shop, and we offer all different kinds of unique items and unique companies as well. But leather crafting is really what we specialize in.
Awesome. And you said you've been doing this for about 2 years?
Yeah. Yep. I had to come up with this idea after I was wrongfully terminated from a company. Sadly, and was able to find some different help through some resources of the state to be able to put together some of the cool toys. I should say toys, tools. The cool tools that you see behind us. Like I said, one of them being my CO2 laser. I've got high industrial leather sewing machine right behind you, and some quite other intricate tools. So. Yeah, it's been fun. We really haven't had too much of a backlash yet in the Fort Wayne area. It's been good for the community.
Good. And the tools and the toys kind of become one and the same when you're doing something cool and fun and making a good difference in some people's lives.
Absolutely, yeah, it's been fun for sure.
So. Is this something that you learned how to do because of the business, or have you been experimenting with making leather for before you started the company?
Yeah, no, my grandfather had his own little leather craft shop when I was growing up. Not a shop; it was his own hobbyist tool area, but my grandfather always did everything to the hilt, so his collections of leatherwork tools were quite expansive, and I remember that as a very early age, and so that, I guess, kind of got me into it a little bit as far as understanding the process and knowing the tedious work of taking an actual raw hide, an animal hide, and turning it into a finished product. So there's a lot of craft work to it, a lot of things that a lot of people don't realize or go into the minute details of making just a mere strap for reference. So no, that was when I was very young, before middle school probably, or even during middle school, but never really had experience too much in the leather community before this, really. So I found that there was a need for this. I went to a few different leather craft shops and spent quite a bit of money, some good money, on things that wasn't necessarily made the way that I wanted it, or wasn't necessarily the quality that I wanted it. I had to travel 300, 400 miles to get there. So, yeah, I wanted to do something here in the Fort Wayne area that you normally have to go to the East Coast or the West Coast to get. But now you can come right here in the middle of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and the Midwest, deep in red country, and still experience some really cool things.
Yeah, that was really cool. Can you tell me about a time that like something went wrong as you were making it? Did things go wrong a lot, or have you gotten pretty good at?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Well, the thing with leather is it's a piece of skin. So when you introduce a sewing machine to it or a needle, whether it's hand stitched, one way or the other, once you put the hole into the skin, the leather, it's there. So there's no there's no room or no margin of error when it comes to leather work. So if you make a mistake in the threading and have to de-thread it, you have to make sure that when you go back over it again, that each hole hits. Otherwise, you have kind of a wonky or a ruined piece, it could be. So, it's really interesting that there is a learning curve to it, because I just made a vest for a good friend of mine down in Indianapolis that was a $500 commission vest, and got it all complete and got it to him, and it was about 2 inches too small. And you can't do anything about that. You have to literally start over. And so I had probably 80 hours worth of work in it, and had to start over and just make it just 2 inches bigger. So, but hey, that's the living and learning. That's I think with any craft, whether it's artwork or leather work or whatever it is, you have those bumps and learning processes, and that's the fun part about it. It was an expensive learning process and a lot of time, but still the customer got the right product at the end, and it was done right, the right way, and fun to get done for it, the whole project. So
I definitely respect that.
Yeah.
Are you then able to either sell that one to somebody who is 2 inches smaller for a cheaper price, or do you custom make everything? Or are you able to tear it down and reuse it for other leather pieces as scraps?
Yeah, good question. A little of both, actually. A little of both of all of that. If this was a regular vest, I would love to just throw it up on the rack and say, yep, it's just a little bit smaller, because someone come buy it. But this particular one had a name in the back, and their name on the back, and a specialty patch. So I was able to Frankenstein it and get the patch off and reuse the patchwork, but the rest of the overall garment just had to be scrapped. In fact, it's just used here as a display to say, hey, these are some of the things that we can do, but
it's a smart way to utilize it.
Yeah. So you can see some of the you learn from your mistakes. You can display some of the mistakes and say, this is what was this, but we needed it to be a little bit bigger, and recognize the need to fix it instead of just shipping off a product to satisfy a need. So,
definitely.
Yep.
What is the biggest thing that you've learned since going from just doing it online, I assume, to actually having a storefront?
Yeah, the online and storefront kind of all came together at the same time. It was kind of a whole process of moving forward, with some of the help of the state. But I've learned as a kind of a sole proprietor, single kind of business owner. I've got a little bit of help from my ex-partner, but is that it's tough. Being a small business owner is very tough. There's a lot of little curves and things that you think you got planned for that you just, life throws you curves. So I've learned a lot of humility and to be able to roll with the punches. You just got to say, yep, this is my mistake, and let's get past it and move forward with it. But that's the beauty of being a business owner, a small business owner, or doing something for your own, moving it forward. There's a lot of risk, but a lot of reward to it. And so far, it's been a good mixture of both. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take this in a political direction necessarily, but have you had customers who you wouldn't necessarily expect, or
I know where you're getting. Yeah, absolutely. We have all walks of life that walk in. From the professor to the attorney to the local artist to just anything. We have all walks of life, and that's what we really embrace here at Niche is that aspect of all walks of life. And it's so funny because you get some of the folks that you look at and you're like, maybe this isn't the right shop for them, but just within the first 30 seconds, they can break down their defenses and say, oh wow, this is really cool. These guys are pretty cool to talk to, and they let you in on those little secrets that nobody else knows about, and I think that's the funnest part.
Yeah.
Because they're just regular people like you and I, and that's the cool thing is that we found that with the internet over the last decade, 2 decades, that even in the hardcore red states, that there's some pretty open-minded, progressive people. So, and for that, we're here to help fill that void that, for my whole life, at least, Fort Wayne hasn't had, at least available in this capacity.
Yeah, definitely. And I think having places like this for Fort Wayne and beyond really just furthers diversity and open-mindedness and representation, acceptance among everybody, so that that can continue happening.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's really cool to have places like this.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. One last question that I like to ask everybody who I interview. I used to have a nonprofit organization for to help kids who get bullied, and with COVID and everything, it's kind of fallen off for a little bit. But I like to ask everybody, like, have you ever been bullied, and whether or not, do you have any advice for kids who may be dealing with that?
I gotcha. Well, that's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, I've been bullied. I think that's just a natural part of life in some cases, and it's just all about how you learn from those bully situations. And, most of my bullying, it was, I guess, in the regular kind of ages that most people experience that in school, whether it's grade school or high school or whatever that is. But I learned at a very early age to not let them take the power. So that's what a bully is ultimately trying to do, is take your achievements, take your ideas, take your goals, take your vision, however it is, and try to take that power away from you. And once you know that, then you can turn that back around on them, and you can get your power back. And I've been a very strong voice for my political beliefs and for the belief structures that I've been involved in, and I wouldn't have been that way without the bullying and the toughness that it gets. You sharpen the sword on both sides, right? If you only sharpen the sword on one side your whole life, then you only have a dull blade on one side. So it takes that bully to keep that blade sharpened so that you're ready to fight for the things that you believe in, and not be afraid to stand up for those things that you believe in. And when you do, when you stand up for the things you believe in, you'll find others will respect that, and others will gravitate more towards you that way. And you'll find a lot more in-common people with your energy, your vibe, than the haters.
Well, beautifully said.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost metaphorical, like you said, you got wrongfully terminated, and in a way that's almost like the adult world bullying, and it's blossomed into this. It's allowed you to start all this, and it's become something beautiful out of bad situation. And
that really is what it was, and that was kind of the design. Is that I've had bad encounters with bad employers before, and wanted to turn something good out of a bad situation. So we appreciate it, and I appreciate it for you to come out this way and allow the opportunity to speak about it. So
definitely.
That's a great question. I like that.
And I'm sure, like I said, again, places like this, I'm sure help kids who may otherwise feel like they're alone if they're dealing with being in the LGBT community and not being able to be open about it in school. And then a place like this, they know like they're not alone because of
Yeah.
Having a place in their hometown or
You got it.
just in the world that caters to people and lets them know that they're not alone.
That sees them.
Definitely.
That's all it really needs. That's all we really want is just to be seen. Everybody just needs acknowledgement, just to know that you're there, you're seen, you're cared for, and that's what we're here for too.
Definitely.
So, yeah, Zach, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
for coming out. Yeah.
Take care.